If you're watching this video, you probably just got a kit of parts that looks something like this with your new MTW, and you're wondering, what are these parts for? Well, I'm Glenn, and I'm going to answer those questions for you on today's episode of What the Tech.
What the tech?
So the first part you're going to find in your kit is a small nylon receiver tensioning screw. So let's go over why you may or may not want to use this screw. You might want to use it to adjust any small amount of movement out of your upper and lower receiver. By tightening that screw down onto the rear lug, it's going to put a small amount of tension between your receivers and eliminate any amount of movement between your upper and lower. For me personally, I'm not going to be using this. As someone who's been around real ARs a decent amount, there's usually a tiny bit of movement in your receivers and it doesn't bother me at all. Secondly, it's going to limit the amount of ways you can use your MTW. By putting this screw here, you're not able to run your wires into your buffer tube, which for some people, depending on what grip they're running, might be an issue. And as I mentioned before, if you run your wires through with the screw installed, it's going to pinch them and void the warranty on your board. So to start off, we're going to just pop out the pins on your receiver. This option will be available on all 9mm and on all MTWs shipped after May 2022. To figure out if your gun has this option, simply take out your wiring harness, pull out your rear pin, and there should be a small tapped hole directly underneath the rear takedown pin. Next, we're going to take the grip off. You're going to need a 3/16 hex key, and when you're removing this, be sure to hold on to the parts and be careful because when you pull this out, you're going to have a spring and a detent. So make sure to set those aside so that you don't lose them. Next, we're going to go ahead and install the nylon tensioning screw. You're going to need an 1/8" hex key, and since it's a plastic screw, you want to be careful when you're starting it that you don't cross thread it. Once you get your screw started, you're going to want to flip your gun back over and take your wiring harness and put it down through the grip. This step is important because if you leave it going into the buffer tube, you will pinch your wires between the screw and the bottom lug of your receiver and void the warranty on your board. Next, you'll take your upper receiver, feed your airline back through the grip, and take your hex key and start tightening down this screw just till it's snug. Once you feel your screw bottom out, you want to back it off just a touch, or you can mess around with it and tighten it until there's as much movement in your receiver as you want. Just be careful not to tighten it down too much, or you may strip your screw. Also, if you tighten it down too much, you will not be able to remove the back lug of your receiver. At this point, we're going to go ahead and reassemble everything in the same order that we disassembled it. First, take your detent and drop it down in the hole. Make sure you have your spring and your grip. You're going to go ahead and feed your wiring harness and your airline back through the hole. Once you have all that, just carefully get it all lined up. Take your hex key and reinstall the grip. So in conclusion, while most people won't use this feature, it's just another great way that Wolverine Airsoft is looking out for the airsoft community. The second part you may find in your kit, depending on your trim, is a base plate for your DLG tactical grip. This is a lot more self-explanatory. Basically, if you want to run your battery in your grip, you'll have your wiring harness come into your grip, like I just covered. You'll take your base plate and snap it in like so. For removing it, you can just take any long object, stick it under this, and remove it. If you found this video useful, be sure to go check out some of our other What the Tech videos. We have a lot of resources out there that will hopefully help you solve most questions. If you have any questions we can't help you with, be sure to contact our tech department. They'll be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. Also, while you're here, go give us a follow. Thanks, guys.